German money and stamps, then Dis-Unification. One of the first insanities after WW2 was declared over. Kaiser Adolf had not reappeared as an emaciated shackled prisoner in chains with Einstein's sister Sadie and had deliberately inbred Hohenzollern Einstein child that did not really exist. Some people in Germany who were aware of the terrorism extortion plot and pretending to fill the void left behind by mass-murdered civilians between December 1943 and mid-1945 changed their version of the story. The staff at the prisoner of war jail in Yugoslavia decided not to tell anyone waiting in Germany the baby miscarried, as it may spoil their fun, so to speak. Those waiting in Germany had not been told the baby miscarried in April 1944, self-aborted by its mother at the dinner table on the other side of the bars to Adolf's cell. Because he hadn't been dragged back to Berlin with her in it, they decided to pretend he was being politely asked if he was ready to be taken back to Berlin every morning, as if he had to agree before it would happen. An attempt to make what they did look more polite in some way. They pretended he was asked if he was ready to be dragged back to Berlin by the hair or anything else, and he must have been saying no on principle every morning. And assumed if he did, they just waited 24 hours and asked him again the following morning. It would be inevitable he would say yes at some point, just to get a bath and a change of clothes, and all they had to do was wait. They would see him dragged round a corner in chains eventually, they just needed to keep a lookout. They then assumed the baby had been born by the end of October 1944, and he was watching it being raised on the other side of the bars, including breastfeeding and nappy changes, etc. Then assumed the baby was being kept ridiculously clean with over-intense grooming to annoy him as he had not bathed since his abduction. That is where that impersonating a baby with a bizarrely clean nappy walking around thing comes from. As if the nappy is intensely annoying because it is always immaculately clean. Even adults do it, as if the nappy impersonation is mesmerizingly annoying would make anyone say yes to anything eventually. The decision was made to assume all German money and stamps featuring my Royal Hohenzollern Family constitutional monarchy of Germany would be replaced with images of Sadie Einstein, her inbred child, and possibly its Uncle Albert. Maybe even Sadie and her lover, if she took one after Kaiser Adolf was murdered later on. So, they decided to get a head start on wiping out references to my real royal family and get ready for replacing it with Einsteins who weren't eligible under law. As if the brat had been born and became the dream fake Kaiser brat even. It would have been told to take genocidal dislike to Jews and homosexuals etc., obviously. They probably thought when it did, as fake Kaiser, it would make pretending my Royal Hohenzollern family was to blame for all that sort of thing historically would be too easy. It would have been really part Hohenzollern, but pretending to reign for the Einsteins. I don't hate Jews. There are plenty of fake ones around using stolen identities from the 1900s, but describing them as some fake synagogue of Lucifer compared to the real Jewish people just isn't me. The inbred illegally conceived Einstein brat bred in Sadie Einstein would not have been eligible for my royal family if born successfully. My Hohenzollern royal family assets and income were not used to pre-fund, fund, or facilitate any Holocaust or mass genocide of any type during WW2. The terrorism groups that committed the crimes funded them themselves with their own income sources. Pretending my Hohenzollern royal family income and assets were used by groups like the Neo-Natzis does not create a precedent to withhold and or steal assets and income off me now for more Holocaust, mass genocide, disfigurement, cheating, or other organized crime and terrorism spree events. If lunatics claim they or their ancestors and associates were illegally and unofficially promised a cut of my Hohenzollern assets if they were ever stolen off my family during or after WW2 for participating in a Holocaust or mass genocide of any type during WW2, they are not owed a cut of my estates for the WW2 crimes, or funding stolen from my estates for any repeat offenses they have planned. Trying to steal off me for future terrorism, Holocaust, or mass genocide crimes is not like confirming fake historical guilt for crimes committed during #WW2 is dumped on my Hohenzollern royal family. The lunatics, wearing deceased German civilian mass murder victims' prettiest scavenged clothes, decided to scour the country and world for any coin, note, or stamp with a reference to my Royal Hohenzollern family on it. Then get rid of them all, ready for new illegal Einstein family ones. Even made some early prototypes, featuring a fictional inbred Kaiser with 3 eyes and 7 fingers on each hand, Unzug. Obviously those lunatics were organized crime, jail escapee, psychiatric facility types to begin with. They had been told if the mass murder of German civilians happened, they would be allowed to wander in to fill the void at some point afterwards. Possibly even get to pretend they were granted deceased German civilians' identities by a 1-year-old new fake Kaiser on advice from its mother. They had been ready for a while, and the group got itself a name in December 1943 when it started its full mass genocide, the Neo-Natzis. They scoured Germany for every reference on money or stamps they could find. Then expanded that to the rest of the world as Kaiser Adolf spent more time in prisoner of war jail, with them claiming they were still waiting. They pretended defacing them to remove references to my real royal family would annoy Kaiser Adolf, and he may agree sooner to get back to Berlin and make them stop. It would be piss funny when they kept going anyway after he arrived. They employed people to sit down and sort through every German coin they could take out of circulation, in massive vacant factories and warehouses with hydraulic presses installed in them. They had them sort through them and try to find any coin with a member of my Royal Hohenzollern family on it, or a symbol of my monarchy on it, with the intention of only having pictures of the Einstein fake royal family in circulation on German coins in the future. Like someone had fantasized about with the Habsburg and Romanov royal families of my family ancestors during World War I. Imposters had failed in both cases by the end of 1922. With my Hohenzollern Royal Family, they were pretending they had a real inbred Einstein Hohenzollern child to fake it with. It didn't really exist, though. They set people up, mostly drug addicts and alcoholics, to sort through them. If they found a coin with a member of my Hohenzollern Royal Family on it in the pile for them, they were instructed to stamp the coin flat with a hydraulic press so the image could not be seen. Preferably so flat that it appeared to have no details at all. The people they employed said, okay. They stamped them flat as a test until around under half their usual thickness was found to make them look like a tiny dinner plate with the metal squished out around the edges and split with no discernible detail. Unless the hydraulic press had a large piston and the coin was completely under it without it squishing out the sides. They adjusted all the machinery for the specifications, then started stamping them flat and keeping them aside. I don't know how many thousand people got a job doing it. They also scoured Germany to find all coins, stamps and notes they could find. Then surrounding countries, then the world. They started pretending German civilians mass murdered by the Neo-Nazis behaved as if they had prior warning that terrorism group could come get them and had desperately hidden coins, stamps and notes anywhere they could. In things like small lockable boxes, then hidden under floorboards, in walls, in ceiling insulation, buried in secret places in the yards, etc. They expanded to going to every abandoned German residence whose owner or tenant had been mass murdered and ripping them all to pieces just in case they found any examples of royal family-themed coins, stamps or notes. They pretended that maybe even entire collections back hundreds of years people diligently collected with enthusiasm would be found, hidden under the floorboards by someone hoping they were found if the Neo-Nazis came and got them and they were murdered, so they were saved for future generations. As if the victims were sitting at home biting their fingernails waiting for Neo-Nazis to come get them, hoping the currency and stamps wouldn't be found and maybe someone would find a hidden box with a full collection in it in 2023 or something. Even demolishing places people went to and spent money in case dropped coins had found their way to under the floorboards. After World War II, searching worldwide was a steady job some couldn't seem to refuse through to Kaiser Adolf's escape from prisoner of war jail in late 1959. They tried to erase every coin, note and stamp from existence. It was the reason some nice small abandoned German houses ended up stripped of everything except the framework and their yards excavated. They were looking for hard currency and stamps. The longer Kaiser Adolf spent in prisoner of war jail without reappearing in Berlin, the more insanely invasive the search got. It seemed a lot better than getting involved in restoration works to make Germany livable again to some. All the while pretending to dream of stealing my Royal Hohenzollern family estate and proceeding with expanded mass genocide outside of Germany with it, as if with official royal consent from the new Sadie Einstein bred fake royal family. As if that would make it perfectly legal and accepted, and the follow-up crimes would retrospectively blame my Hohenzollern royal family for any or all of it all along. I take no responsibility or blame for that sort of thing as if my Royal Hohenzollern family was responsible in some way.